No, we just
McDonald's
get
don't get
together
shirts.
and we don't have an agenda.
We don't
We're
even
just
get
like, we do, but Len laughs at it because we're just like, oh, Saturday, okay, cool, bring your food. And so when his family like takes months, he's like, dude, just do like
They
the
had a
Reyes
committee.
and just they do. I'm not playing. Did he
Len's
tell you?
family had a committee.
A committee, and the cousin in charge, she's amazing. Her career is project management, and she's like big time. You should have seen the meetings
For the reunion. But either way, if your family is like that, you got to have your shirt. Go to ScrantonRoadMinistries.org or ScrantonRoadPromo.org for more information. And by the way, one other quick little thing before we get started. If you've been paying attention, we've only mentioned it a few times, but this Friday is a big day.
It is a big day. I'm so excited. We get to see you. We get to hang with you as we canoe. I'm going to canoe. I'm going to try to see if Len puts me in the back. Because remember I told you I got extra.
He's not putting you in the back.
Practice. I got extra practice, and my baby and me are a team. So you'll be able to see us
You really
live.
think he'll put you in the back?
You know what I learned? I'm not even going to give you my tips or my secrets. So thank you. And so you'll be able to see him and Sarah. But more importantly, we're going to be hanging out. Yell out new rule to Len and all that.
Yeah, if you come, new rule, yell it when you see Len.
Yeah.
But if in case you missed it, so Janelle went on this canoe trip a while back with Len and realized that they struggled in the canoe and they learned a lot of marriage lessons.
Yeah,
There's
we
some
did.
great content for you. In fact, I think we did a
We did a podcast,
episode.
so check that one out. Go to brianandjanelle.org. It's like 2 weeks ago we did the podcast. But then we were like, oh my goodness, we should like all do this.
Yeah, we should all learn these lessons in a canoe. So it's COVID, we can't do big events. Places aren't doing events. So we figured out a way around it. Here's the way around it. Janelle and Len and Brian and Sarah and Kelly is going to be there. And
Our boss, Josh and Mimi.
Josh and Mimi will be there. We're going to be at the Mohican Adventures canoe spot where you start your canoe with Mohican
That's
Adventures.
the name of the place, Mohican Adventures. I'm going to put the link up.
It's in Amish country.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be there at 1 o'clock.
On Friday.
On Friday.
At 1 o'clock. So you get there. It's first come, first serve. We could not reserve because of COVID. So when you get there, just pay for trip number 1. I'm going to put the link up and you'll see it. Trip number 1. That's 7 miles. It takes about 2 hours. I just did it again a few weeks ago, and it's really fast, but we're trying to chill because we're going to hang. So can somebody bring a speaker, though? Like, I want music, but okay, go ahead.
Just make it really good so she stands up and dances in the canoe and knocks them
Yeah.
over. And I can guarantee she will not be in the... There's no way Len's letting her get in the back of the boat.
Why not?
Len Nevels?
Why not?
Len Nevels?
He might surprise you. He might surprise you.
Emphasis on might.
Either way, front or back, I got this because I went in practice and I was beating my sisters and my son, who's all like cut up and stuff. I was like, I figured out the strategy. Thank you.
So anyway,
I'm gonna get you.
that's how we're getting around this. You wear your mask at the launch, but once we're in boats, it's all good. So we'll be there and we'll be ready to launch around 1. So if you're there at the same time, look at this. We had an event.
Hello. Yes. And they don't mind. They just said, they're gonna do the whole social distancing. Once you launch, you're on your own. So it'll be fun.
Are you guys going to fight in your canoe in front of listeners?
We don't fight. Thank you. We got this. You can bring your
Did you
coolers,
just lie?
bring drinks.
On the internet? You don't fight?
We got this, please.
The whole episode was about you guys fighting.
I know, Ja. Oh.
Janelle is my favorite thing. Janelle up in front going, I wonder if our experience in this canoe, Len, is really a reflection of our entire relationship.
I did. And then he said,
Wow.
What did you say, girl? Whatever. We were having a bad day. But you'll be able to see us do our thing. Hello, Sheila, Amora, Mike. Gary's here. What's up, Gary? Fiola. Mwah. Rachel says, top of the morning, everyone. Brian and Janelle.
Hello,
Hashtag Team Janelle. Woo-hoo! Norelis de Jesus. Hola, mi amiga. Are you Team Janelle Norelis? This is the first time I see you on Overtime. She loves me. Suzanne says, good morning. Janelle, you look so pretty in purple. Muchas gracias. Morado en español. Right?
Púrpura.
Morado. Thank you, Suzanne.
What? I'll just stand over
Tiffany,
here. like
what's
chopped
up? What's up, Tiffany? She says it's first come, first serve, correct? Yes, it is. She says she just joined about Mohican Adventures. Gary, we got to give you time because you're hashtag Team Brian, very committed. He says, after your show, I was listening to Dr. Greer, and he said, follow your money trail each month, and that shows where your interests are.
Well,
I was
interesting?
somewhat
Yeah.
surprised the southern states didn't give more. He also said, Gary, because I just heard him on the hallway, he said, we spend or live abundantly and give sufficiently. Isn't that deep?
It's not supposed to be that way.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Norelis. She said it's her first time, Norelis.
Hey!
Super cool. Woo,
Aren't I more handsome than you thought I was going to be? You were like, wow, that guy sounds pretty average, but he looks above average. I bet that's your reaction.
No. Tiffany says the canoe trip. Yes, so I'm going to do the link. I'm going to post it up. Please, please come. We love y'all.
And we're going to be there whether you're there or not.
Yeah, we
So-
gone. We gone, actually.
We already got our tickets.
Len took the day off. We're going to, hang out a little bit before then. And then if you're going to the women's webinar, you'll be able to see me in person and tell me. I wish I could hug you, so I'm not going to promise that. I'm acting like people will be like, oh, man.
You're not supposed to hug.
I
people.
know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hug you. I promise. I'm just going to say hi.
I should offer a reward for someone who tips you guys over. What would Len do?
That would not be good.
Would he get mad? He
Yeah.
couldn't because there's listeners there.
Yeah, no. He's very diplomatic.
What
he's
if I splashed him with my
he's a
paddle?
pastor's kid.
What if I got next to him and really just doused him with water? What would he do?
He has a lot of
You're
self-control.
advising against that?
Yes, I would actually. Okay, here it is. There's the link. Sandy, hello, Norelis. That's cool. Carlton's here.
Hey, good to see you,
Tiffany
Carlton.
says, my husband and I are so excited about Friday. Woo!
Oh, good. I'm glad you're coming.
Tiffany, we're going to go to your Facebook
There we go. She's
page.
going to stalk you now.
What's up, Tiffany? Oh, my
is.
goodness. Yes, oh, look. So cool. Remember their wedding? They have dogs at their wedding.
Oh, yeah.
She's coming with her husband. Super cool.
Awesome. Be sure to say hi and splash Len. That's what we're going to do. We're all going to splash Len.
Well, come on. Y'all want him to come back to
Canoe
a big
next to Len and be like, hey, what's up, Janelle? Hey, Len. Just, oh, sorry, Len. Just paddling over
Really?
here.
Wow. Mike says,
Was it going to mess up his hair?
Mike told Norelis, who's here for the first time, welcome to the zoo. I'm the zookeeper. I called it. Which one? Who are you at the zoo?
I don't know. I'm the guy that takes your tickets.
We are
probably.
not both crazy. I am not both crazy.
All right. So today's topic, who are the most generous? Not who you'd expect.
Oh, man.
Really interesting data here where who in the U.S. do you think are the most generous, and specifically among Christians? You'd think it'd be the South, right? Because of the Bible Belt? Wrong. In fact,
Oh, my goodness. Calm down.
you'd be like, oh, it must be the West Coast where all those activists tell us to find out.
It's in
Or-
Ohio. Hello,
Or maybe it's
Cleveland.
Ohio, right? Actually, the top 3 most charitable cities in America are all in the same state. All 3 are in Idaho. Idaho. Oh, yeah. Pocatello, Idaho, Idaho Falls, and Jackson are the top 3 most charitable cities. Christians in those cities give on average annually check this out, $17,977. Compare that to Christians in places like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, Philadelphia. They give less than $3,308 a year. 17.9 versus 3. It's terrible.
Wow.
It's terrible. Las Vegas, even. You'd think, oh, all those people in Sin City keeping all their money. Christians there give an average of $10,400. $10,400. What are you doing over there? What was that?
I know.
You're making a lot of noise. To make it even more interesting, only 5% of church members give regularly. Households that make more than 75 grand are the least charitable. Nationwide, Christians today give just what percent of their income? 10? No.
10%,
9?
12,
No.
15.
No. Nope. 8?
Okay.
No.
No.
7? No. 2.5%. Yeah, that's right. Christians today give an average of 2.5% of their income. Compare that
Oh,
to during the
Gary.
Great Depression. During the Great Depression, Christians gave 3.3% of their income. Now you give 2.25.
Thank you,
What
Patricia.
are you doing?
Thank you.
Did you hear that?
Oh my
Do that
goodness,
again. What
I
is
did
that?
got problems. Wait, hold on. Like, who does that though?
She did
Don't
that
you
during
hate-
the show today.
It's like when the kids drag their chair to the table. You're like, dude, just like pick it up. Sorry.
You did that live on the show today.
I did.
And I ignored it. Aren't you proud of me?
I am proud of you.
I was afraid something else happened. I didn't want to embarrass you. I was like,
Would
this
you,
is the
dude,
radio
I've seen
Janelle.
that happen into broadcast journalists. Would you ever call me out if I did that? Like sometimes I feel like a burp is gonna come out by mistake. I hope you know to just like ignore that.
Today is evidence I got your back because I let that slide. I'm not talking on the radio and you did that, and I was like, anyway.
Oh, man, I know. Hello, YouTube. We see you. We see you. Subscribe, and you can join the discussion. I see your comments, so I want to know what you have to say about it. The question is.
Yeah. So all that being said, with all the generosity or lack thereof, why? Why do we have cities in the biggest cities in America giving less than $3,000 or less than $4,000 annually from Christians? Why do we only have 5% of churches giving regularly? 5% of Christians in churches giving regularly. Why are Christians only giving 2.5% of their income? Why?
Okay, so Gary says, who took the survey? Idahoans. Idahoans. He has an I in there. That's
Idahoans?
a good.
Idahoans. Does it matter? Have you met
But ain't
one?
that a funny question though?
I'm not
That's
even
so
certain I've run
funny.
into anyone from Idaho. Have you?
Never.
I'm like, hey, where are you from? Boise? No.
Oh, Brian.
Never. I can't
Sandy.
say- What?
Sandy says, generous as in overall money or ratio of donations to income? And then she said, sorry for the math question.
Yeah, ask yourself that one because I don't know.
Patricia says, Brian, if you keep on saying what you're saying about Splash and Len, someone will probably dunk you. That's right. You got to have Len's back, y'all.
No.
Give him some
You
love.
don't understand. So Len does not like to be touched. He has a personal bubble
Oh, my goodness.
of 1 foot.
He would, and this is not, I'm not lying. I thought he got over this. So that he's racing the boys on Friday. Racing my boys. They're like already teenagers. And he keeps coming up with excuses. They race like 10 times. Because he's like, no, hold up my knee and hold up my this. And then Jonah kept going up to him and hugging him. And Jonah doesn't do this. So the moment must have meant a lot to Jonah. He kept saying, yo, dude, stop. And I'm like, Len, he's hugging you. Then he keeps saying, stop. And then he got to the point where he's like, I got personal space. It's this. Like, just stay away.
He does this, right? The forearm sticks out.
So
This is
even
my
if
personal
you
space. So
if you take the canoe and just like go right by him, it might
I
do something.
got Len. Walkworthy Men's Conference this last year. I went up and I had Len stand up so we could recognize him at the very beginning. And I said something like, you know, Len gives off this I don't want to hug vibe. But don't believe it, it's all an act. He's a big softie. In fact, I'd love for you guys, when you see Len today, give him a hug.
Dude.
And when it feels like he's about to let go in for more.
Somebody, like a few men hugged him. he
Len
told
got
me.
7 hugs that day. I
Tell
think.
him about the last one.
There was one dude who was small and he just went in and he just hung on to Len.
And
for a
then when
long
Len was
time.
like, okay, and it was like both arms underneath Len's arm, and Len was looking down, and the guy like squeezed him harder.
I got him! So
oh my
splash
goodness.
Len.
No, don't splash him.
Splash Len.
Sandy said Brian's growing his beard out again. It looks good. Aww.
I know, thank you.
Is that your
Finally,
mom?
no.
I was about to
Finally somebody says something nice to me. They always talk to you like you need something nice said to you.
Love you. Carlton says people in Idaho give so generously because there's nothing to do there.
Right, Carlton?
Then
Like,
he
what are they
said-
going to do? Go pick potatoes?
He said he's playing, but yeah. That
Well,
was
but is he though? I mean, when's the last time you said to somebody, listen, we're going to go on a trip. Bring a lot of money because there's lots to do. We're going to Idaho.
exactly.
That's a good point.
Theola, she says some of us give our widows might. Aww. Yeah. Daniel says amazing and sad.
It is, isn't it?
Rachel says, wow, terrible statistics. We have to do better. And then
Oh, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt's here.
Dr. John.
You gotta
Isn't he a
scroll up.
doctor?
He's up there.
I was going to read him, yeah. Hold on.
Dr. Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Honestly, Dr. John says, wow, you pronounce his name.
Which by
Miss-
the way, Dr. John is a musical artist, a New Orleans artist. He did Right Place, Wrong Time. Anyway,
Why do you do that? Why do you even ask me? It's like a waste of time. And then you're surprised every time. John says, honestly, I believe it comes down to Christians being too enraptured with this world and not enough with Jesus, our King.
that's right. Dr. John Jingleheimer Schmidt.
And then Sheila wants, oh no, yeah, you don't have an answer. Oh wait, no. Has cost of living been figured in because it costs way more to live in a big city, I'd imagine? That's a really good point, Brian.
No, it has, I
don't know what you're doing. That's when we know that you use studies just to...
But see, Ron tried to do this too, where Ron said, oh, there's got to be reasons, because let's say they're, like urban centers will have a lot more urban poor.
Yeah.
Therefore, the average will be, shoved to the...
Yeah.
But that doesn't negate the fact that only 5% of church members give regularly, and that Christians give an average of 2.5% of their income. So while we could maybe find some explanations why Idaho gets such a big, loud applause for the first time in their history, other than when we eat their chips and potatoes and stuff, we really can't avoid the fact that just Christians aren't generous.
Yeah, yeah. Deborah says, if church members were obedient to God in their giving, the church should have no financial problems, plus have plenty to do as God directs. The topic frustrates me, but I can only do as I can do. The rest is up to others. I can pray for them, nothing else. Not my job to convict. And then Deborah says, God says to test him in giving. It's amazing how I don't seem to have enough to give him, but do so obediently. Do you think it's hurt, not just social media, but the airtime that prosperity pastors have been getting recently, and just not the lack of trust? Or do you think that would affect everybody, not just Christians? Do you think that has anything to do with Christian giving right now?
I think...
we've gotten a bad
there's a lot of
rap
scammers
with
out
that.
there. No, there's a lot of scammers out there, and I think people are appropriately cautious.
But you don't think that
I think
that's
having lots
affecting-
of options is complicated.
Like what? You give to your church.
Well, I don't know, if you live in a really impoverished area and there's a local church feeding people, I guess not an obvious way to give. But if everybody seems like they're doing okay, then maybe it's harder to decide where to give.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think affluence is challenging because it's so easy to get what you want, and you don't know what it's like to be in need.
We talked about affluence, my kids and I forgot what the conversation was about. But I remember it was something about, like, do you think wealthy people get to the point where they're satisfied? Like where you say, okay, I have enough.
They never
And
do.
I brought up a story I heard about Rockefeller. Tell me if you already know if this is like a myth, but I mean, I read about him. And it said that they asked him, it was like an interview, and they said, when will you have enough? And he said, when I have $1 more.
Yeah.
And so we were talking, my kids and I were talking, and I was just saying, I think it does get to the point where even when you have enough, I mean, you got neighbors that have more. You always have people that have more. So you can get caught up in, maybe you hold on to your money tighter, or I don't know. Do you think it gets worse? It's insatiable. Or
Yeah.
are we generalizing? Do you think money does that, or are we generalizing with the people in affluence?
No, I think there's a lot of truth in that.
That
I
the
think-
more you have, the tighter you hold to it?
Yeah. I think that's where the love of money issue comes in from Scripture, where it really is the root of all evil. It can really corrupt us in many senses.
But you can have that and be broke. Do you think it's money? It's the affluent people? This study shows that.
I mean, or
The
are you
people
trying
that
to
have-
say it's selfishness? I mean, that could be part of it.
I'm trying to understand why those who have more are giving less. You said
Yeah, that
those
was
who
one.
make, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't share that here.
I'm sorry.
No,
yeah.
no, it's good. I'm
yeah.
glad you brought it up. Households that make more than $75,000 are the least charitable.
Yeah. That's crazy.
The more you have, the less you give.
And even what you did share about like bigger cities, even though you could be in a big city and not have a lot, but you think about the New Yorks and California. What is your explanation? Hey, Tina, on YouTube, your explanation for that?
What's yours?
No, I asked you first. Hello.
And ladies first. I'm chivalrous. Why would I want to go in front of a woman? I'm not that kind of man.
What do you guys think? What is our explanation for those? Wow,
You just deflected.
dude. Oh my goodness. I asked you first. Janet says, my dad Gave, and we saw him do it. My siblings and I have a quarter each week. I grew disillusioned with the pressure people were placed under to give. Methods of bribery and shame that were used in churches. I have seen that, yes. To get people to give. Because the givers only gave more and the rest were tricked into it with special promises of blessings. It was then I realized I learned not to give out of compulsion. I do it for God alone, and now I do it privately online, not on Sunday service during the walk-up. And John is agreeing. He says the more you have, the more you have to lose. He's talking about that idea.
It's true.
Sheila says, I think some people are confusing needs with wants.
True.
So do you have something to say about what I asked you? Amora says, we're not teaching each generation to give. Yeah, I like Janet's dad, how he taught by modeling it.
Well, and what's interesting here is this person asks about why we give. And a lot of people, he says, give for control. Like, they give their gift so they can control something. I know it sounds crazy, but I have a friend who was helping build a large community center. His church was a huge church, lots of money, and they were raising funds to build a community center that the church could use and the community could use. And a guy came in to donate, and he had a check in his hand for $10,000, which is a lot of money for any ministry, right, from one person. And the guy slid it across the desk, and he said, I have a $10,000 gift I'd like to give, but I have a couple of conditions on the gift. And then he said, I want X, Y, and Z. Like, he wanted to control a couple of aspects of the new building. And the pastor took the check and he slid it right back across the table. And he said, you can only give if you relinquish control. Because we're not going to be manipulated with your gift. It's not why you give, and that's not what we're looking for. And the concept being a lot of people will do that. Like, when we get somebody really mad at us, you'll watch. What they do is, I've listened to a movie forever, and I give. And if you don't stop doing X, I'm going to have to stop giving. They're trying to control with their gift.
And that happens at Moody. It happens in churches.
Everywhere. Pastors encounter this.
All the time.
Hey, I give to this church. Why don't you do what I want you to do?
Yeah.
That's not the true spirit of what giving is supposed to be.
Sandy says, take a lesson from the man in Jesus' story. He was doing well and built bigger barns to store it up. And then God judged him. Tonight your life will be required of you. I think the idea also about those, Dr. John, I see you're talking about those who make $75,000 or more giving less. Maybe even the idea of what I've heard people say, money and success is intoxicating. So the idea of the more you make, it's just, it can change you and it can change your generosity. Tina on YouTube, what's up, Tina? And KJ, what's up?
Look at KJ's comment.
Yeah, KJ says, I'm a bookkeeper at a church and agree about 5% give regularly. We even pondered that if each family gave $5 a week, our church wouldn't struggle to pay our bills.
Isn't that wild?
$5 a week. Tina says it's hard to identify why. It could be a lot of reasons, including a change in generational thinking, and a household making $75,000 a year with 2 working adults is just enough. If you have children, it's not enough. That's on YouTube. That's on YouTube. I don't know. I think it depends where you live. Definitely big cities. $75,000 is not enough with kids.
Like, we just had to, like, you got 6 kids. School's coming up. We have to get new shoes for almost every kid. Now, we're not going to the thrift store, and we're not going to go to, like, the Nike store either. But my kids need some decent shoes. Yeah. You're going to spend at least $50 for a decent pair of shoes. At least. And
then, when they go through that growth spurt, they get yelled at my house for that. Len's like, I just bought your shoes. And then he has to realize, like, oh my goodness, food. Yeah, he gets really irritated.
My toes are sticking out.
He's like, stop growing.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Think about just shoes. You're going to spend hundreds of dollars just on shoes when you have kids.
Coats. I mean, because we do use clothes a lot and we do hand-me-downs. We don't do it as much with, Len definitely doesn't do it with shoes and coats. And other things. We talked about daycare. Oh my goodness, daycare. Because we could say put kids in public school. That's not an option, daycare. Daycare is the cost. But are we bringing up excuses? Steph on YouTube, what's up, Steph? He says, what is your motive to please man or to obey the word? Do you trust he will provide? Trust is an action in your giving.
Yeah, and I think that examination of motive is so key, and that's why this author in an article brought up control. I think a lot of us want the control of minutia with our gift, but in reality, I think anonymity is more what we're called to than anything else. Like, we're called to give generously and quietly.
Yeah.
And trust that God will provide.
Yeah.
Not hold your gift as a hostage for someone to do what you say. And I think that's a problem everywhere, as you indicated.
Mike says we tried weaning our children from eating, but it never worked.
Oh,
Hello.
oh, yeah, the food
my
thing.
Goodness.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Don't even get me started on the food thing.
And the waste.
And the cereal.
I feel so bad to say this, but my kids waste a lot. It's so frustrating, and it's hard controlling it because you got to catch them, and then I'll see stuff in the trash, and I'll be like, "Who did this?" I'm not lying. All 6 of them lined up. Nobody did it.
Nobody.
So like controlling. Yeah, but yeah, there's the food. There's the cereal. Like we'll buy snacks, and I think a lot of times they eat just to eat. So I'm like, dude.
Bored. Yeah.
So I told him I'm not gonna buy snacks. Then I'm like, I'm not buying no juice. And then after a while, I'm like, what am I not gonna buy food? Like, oh. Yeah,
I had my kids. I was going to
expensive.
the store, and I was like, I'm tired of wasting stuff and having boxes of cereal sit there. So,
Yeah.
what do you want? So I had a list of cereal they all want, and I walk over, open the cupboard, it's full of cereal.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, what am I getting
Yeah.
cereal for?
Yeah.
Well, we don't like that kind. Oh, you don't like that kind.
They do that with lunch. That don't work. They'll be like, can you tell Poppy to stop getting this? I'm like, you tell him. I'm not telling that. Do your kids do this whole milk thing? They don't drink the rest of the milk in the bowl. Like they'll put
Yeah, I don't regulate that, but it's a full bowl of milk.
And I get it. I'm just saying, like, after a while, that's a lot of waste of milk. I'm just saying, kids are expensive.
When you're buying 4 to 5 gallons a week.
Dude, and
Yeah.
I've told them, if I put together all the milk you leave behind, that's a gallon a week. It's $3 or
And
something.
the kids will be like, I'm so thirsty.
I know.
Oh, well, I'm good now. Glass
Yes.
of milk on the counter.
Yes.
Half drunk.
Yeah, you know what I did? One kid, I caught him, and he wasted food. He's 10 years old, and I don't care. I was like, give me $3 right now. Go get your little bag, $3. And I just took his cash. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm trying to find a way to make it hurt for them. You know? John says, I think it also should be said that rich Christians in the Bible gave generously to the mission of the apostles and to churches. God gives more to some and less to others, but the spirit of giving should be the same.
That's right.
We should realize that money is never really ours, but a gift from God to distribute generously.
That's absolutely true. Oftentimes people lead these discussions into a chastisement of the rich, and these statistics could do that. Because
Yeah.
what it looks like is that
Yeah.
the well-to-do keep their money. But there's nothing wrong with being rich. It's going to be harder for you. It's complicated. But the principle is absolutely right. I've met Christians who are fabulously wealthy, and they
And very
give generously.
So then there is no connection. You do.
I think it's harder
It's
to
a
be wealthy
spirit.
and give.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I think it is.
Why?
Because you get to experience all the pleasures of life with money. That's what it gives you, those things.
Yeah.
And it's hard to deny yourself pleasure,
Yeah.
right?
Proverbs 31. What's up?
Whoa.
She, I'm sure, says, once you start tithing, giving, God provides everything you need. I remember thinking we wouldn't have enough money, and our family has been blessed time and time again. Theola. Oh, wait, hold on. I want to go to Cody because I haven't seen your name before, or as much. You're married to Sarah, another Sarah. So cool. And you had a birthday recently. Happy birthday, Cody. Cody says, it is also the only area that God tells us to test him in. But we're wanting to test everything else where we should have faith.
Yeah.
Theola says, that's okay. Just line them up and tell them that's all right. You know, because the one that did it has the food on their face. Watch their reaction.
Theola, that's genius.
That is genius.
Well, you got to try
my
that.
God, I am.
It's amazing how something will happen, but nobody did it. And I know it wasn't their mother, and I'm confident it wasn't me.
And they'll straight up be like, and I know I got a liar. I know, y'all. I know. And I'll just tell them, okay, cool. Everybody go to bed. You know, and my sister laughs. She
And then they
thinks I'm
yell
like,
at each other.
yeah, I know. You start a fight. I mean, that part usually works, but goodness gracious, the waste. Oh. Oh, but
I am
even
going to
if
go over there to when they grow up. I'm going to pour a big bowl of cereal, fill it with milk. In fact, I'm going to get a mixing bowl. I had a roommate who would get a small mixing bowl, not even like a cereal bowl.
serious?
I'm going to take 3 bites and go, you know what, I'm full.
I was gonna tell you, can you imagine the moment when they correct your grandbaby for wasting cereal? I'm gonna lose it when I hear any of my kids correcting my grandchild for that. Now I understand.
But see, I'm wondering though what happens because I was watching my parents are staying with us right now. They're not saying all that, and I know they could. Your mom doesn't sit around and
No,
say all
mommy,
that.
yeah.
Your in-laws don't do it.
Yeah, no.
So something happens where suddenly you don't. Like, I don't want to be that person. I'm not going to let them get away with this.
Exactly. Oh, can you imagine?
In fact, you and Len should invite Sarah and me over to Elijah's house.
Yes, that's the one right there.
Walk around and turn all the lights on. If the air conditioning's on, we're going to open up all the doors.
That's right. Don't take your shoes off.
Oh,
I don't care what his carpet looks like.
I'm going to stand on his couch in my shoes.
Exactly.
And I'm going to jump on it. I'm going to open up.
My goodness.
I'm going to waste all his food. I'm going to take a big plate of food and then just be like, you know what? I'm not hungry. But I licked everything, in case you're wondering.
Ain't that a mess?
And then I'm going to taste something he made and let's spit it out and go, oh, it's so gross.
Yeah. Or get a cup of water and drink it and then put it in the sink. Water. I'm like, dude, y'all don't know how to just rinse it? They don't do that, your kids? Water. Like, why? And then you got a bunch of dishes in the sink and it's a whole lot of cups where they just got water. But they don't think because
we're always out of cups. We're out of spoons all the time, too. All the time.
Giselle said, well, welcome back, Mr. Brian. She was talking junk about you. Look what she said. Look, you got to see this. Yesterday, she was like, so where's Brian? And I was like, oh, he was gone, his parents. And then she goes, watch. She said,
You guys message too much.
Well,
Because here's the thing. Giselle is here. Giselle Reyes. Janelle's sister. And Giselle, I used to be like, wow, Giselle is the sister who's so sweet.
There she goes. I said, oh, he was gone. I said, plus he's talking about he's tired. And then she goes, Mister, I go to bed at 9 p.m. That's what she cannot get over.
I used to think it was like bitter and Giselle is sweet. Like complicated and bossy and Giselle's just, oh, and life is great. And she's all nice to me. Giselle's talking junk about me. She's behind my back.
She's coming to the canoe trip.
I know what you're doing, Giselle. Your sister's totally sold you out. You talk junk to me all the time. You're going to talk junk to this face right here? I don't think you're going to do it,
She's coming on Friday, y'all. Y'all got to come see her.
You bring your canoe next to mine, Giselle. We're going to see who's wet. I'm going to splash you. Don't do your hair because I'm going to wreck it.
Oh, whoa. Those are fighting words. I don't know what Len would do. But I know that if you mess up our hair, Sheila says, you guys, tormenting your kids in the future. That's going to be fun, actually. I can't wait.
I'm gonna grab a handful of ice out of the freezer. I'm going to throw it in my glass to make so at least one goes in, but the rest go on the floor, and I'm just going to gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait. Giselle said, no, my hair. Can't mess with people's hair, dude.
You're in trouble, Giselle.
Those are fighting words.
I thought I was all talk. All talk behind my back, Giselle. You're in trouble.
Yeah,
don't tell your husband. He could probably take me.
He can take you.
No, don't tell him.
And he can be there.
I'm going to tell him what you've been saying about me.
You guys, are you coming to the canoe trip? Say, wave if you're coming. Brian, we got to go. We're like mad late. What are you doing?
Oh, I don't know what you're doing. I'll tell you that.
He's supposed to be the leader in the meeting, where we at? What am I doing?
All right.
Bye, Steph. Bye, Kay and Tina.